Hi and welcome to SCW, the wrestling channel here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now, leave any comments in the comments section. Please like and share the video as well. Going to be taking your questions once again from Twitter.com, SCW Wrestling Channel, or at SCW_Steve. You can also post a question on Instagram for me as well, at SCW the Wrestling Channel. You can follow me on there, or you can even leave a comment in this particular video and I will answer it on the next episode of AskSCW. So, without further ado, going to take those questions today for you and throw them out now and answer them from the wrestling community. Make sure to follow everyone as well that's asked questions as well. I'm going to start off with Slam Hub Wrestling, who asked the $1 million question. I look forward to earning $1 million. Is it too early to put the Fiend in a Universal title picture? Well, personally for me, yes it is. I have said previously on different occasions that I don't believe the Fiend Bray Wyatt needs to be involved in any championship right now. His character, his mystique, it separates, it's something that stands out from the pack. So for me personally, I would have kept him away from the title picture. I would have just continued to build him at the pace they were doing so. Right now, they've jumped him from beating Finn Balor to now straight away to the top of the card. And it also makes you wonder what you need to do to become a #1 contender within wrestling right now. He simply put out a challenge on Twitter for a Hell in a Cell match, a match as well that normally has a big bad blood feud. This time it's just simply a title match with, so far now, a little bit of build, but not so much that's of needing of Hell in a Cell. And we've got the Fiend in a championship match. And for me, they want to make Seth Rollins the top guy of the company. They've had him beat Brock Lesnar again and become Universal Champion again. He's now beat Braun Strowman. I do fear that if they make him defeat the Fiend, yes, Seth Rollins is mega strong, but then you've killed all this work you've done of building the Fiend up. So for me, really, I don't want to see this go to waste. For me, the Fiend has to win the Universal Championship. Now he's been put in the picture. But if you were to ask me, yes, I do feel it's too early, because I think he could have built himself up further towards WrestleMania season. I do worry with the look and the mystique that mask has. It's kind of a scary, intimidating figure. It's going to put off a lot of the PG younger viewers. I think it's going to scare a lot of children. So I do wonder, will they make him the face of the company? So I'm a little bit worried how they're going to book this. You only have to look back to 2012. Ryback was booked so strongly, was put in a Hell in a Cell match with CM Punk. He was defeated, lost the undefeated streak, lost everything that was about Ryback. It became a nothing person afterwards. And I think the argument is the way he was not in the title picture anymore. So for me, this is critical what they do with Bray Wyatt here. He has to go in, he has to be strong, he has to go over. Sorry, Seth Rollins, but this particular match, he has got to be beaten. And in my opinion, Seth Rollins needs to be beaten convincingly. The Fiend has to make this absolutely hell for Seth Rollins. Maybe Seth Rollins can kick out a bit, but I don't want to see a lot of offense. I want to see a strong Fiend here. It's the only way that this will work without completely killing the character. There is an argument, I suppose, after last week on Raw, the Fiend took out Kane. There has been rumours of a match with him and The Undertaker. We could have one of these really stupid false finishes, but Hell in a Cell is not supposed to be stopped on a disqualification or anything stupid. So for me personally, I'm not sure I can see me really hating Hell in a Cell this year, just to put an early feeler out there for you, because unless the Fiend wins the belt and wins it convincingly, I'm not sure you're going to get a happy camper on this YouTube channel. Next question comes from Dylan Ketchum, and he asks, do you think Brock Lesnar will win the WWE Championship against Kofi Kingston on October 4th? Yeah, of course, the premiere on Fox as well. I'm going to try and keep this one as short as I can here, because I've predicted for a long time, you go back on long videos here on SCW, at least 6 months, I always predicted the person to defeat Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship on SmackDown Live would be Brock Lesnar. And now it's finally kind of come into fruition. It's almost as if I kind of dreamt it was going to happen, that he'd be drafted earlier in the year in the shake-up. It never happened. And then we see, like, obviously Samoa Joe got a chance, and I thought maybe it's still a chance, but I was starting to give up hope. And now with the draft being announced and Brock Lesnar just showing up on SmackDown Live, Brock Lesnar is a key figure that would be great for Fox. I think Fox would be interested in having a Brock Lesnar character on their show, especially as Ronda Rousey is not involved with WWE at the moment either. I feel those are the kind of people, those real-life athletes that have been involved with UFC, they're the kind of people that they want representing for the WWE on the Fox network. So I kind of have a feeling that it would be a big statement as well, the WWE Championship to change hands on the first night of Fox. Interestingly enough as well, the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view is on October 6th, which is 2 nights later. So is there not going to be a WWE Championship match 2 nights later on the pay-per-view? It kind of feels like that they are going to make that this SmackDown episode could be pay-per-view quality as opposed to what we're going to get 2 nights later. Or we could get 2 really good shows back-to-back, which is great for us, the fans. I have a feeling that Brock Lesnar is going to become WWE Champion. Will it happen on October 4th? Could we get a false finish, which makes us have the championship rematch 2 nights later? We'll have to wait and see. But I've got a funny feeling that WWE are going to want to go into this with a bang. And it would be great for Kofi Kingston to go on to October 4th as the WWE Champion. But it would be as big a statement for Brock Lesnar to win it on that show. So right now, early prediction, I think it's going to happen. And I'm going to explain why in just a minute. Next question is going to come from Pro Wrestling Talk. Who are your draft picks for SmackDown and Raw? Now, of course, we're going to have the draft taking place on the week after the first episode of SmackDown on Fox, and of course then it's after the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, so we're going to have, of course, then the draft take place on SmackDown on the 11th, and then Raw on the 14th of October. It's going to be interesting. We've got the full draft back, so it's going to be very keen to see how we're going to do it. Is one show going to be to get the moves over the SmackDown, and one the moves over to Raw? It's interesting to see how it's going to play out. Are we going to have matches of Raw versus SmackDown again for a draft pick? That hasn't been specified by WWE, but what I would say is I'm not expecting such a big shake-up and such big movement. I think more than not, we are going to see maybe a couple of headline acts move over from show to show, but I'm expecting as well that we are going to get a lot of the people that are lost and a bit of filler, that they're going to get their roles filled in. It's very interesting that WWE are starting to bring people back. We've seen Luke Harper brought back, Rusev, Authors of Pain, or if you want AOP. They're all being brought back to TV. Chad Gable as well has got more of a prominent role in recent weeks on WWE television. It makes you wonder, are they building these guys up so they can be used as a placeholder? And as well, it can almost be like that. We've seen it as well with Rusev and AOP. Where are they going to be? Are they going to be on Raw or SmackDown? It's almost been teased that we're not exactly sure where these guys are going to end up. So it does give some very interesting television when it comes to that. But you want some names. I think that's what you're asking for on this. So I'm going to tell you the names that I think are likely. I think Brock Lesnar is almost a certain, as we've said there. I think Brock Lesnar will be great for Fox. I think The Miz is someone that needs to be on SmackDown. He seems to suffer on Raw, I feel. I think SmackDown is a better suit and a better home for him, especially if the rumours are Shane McMahon going to be off WTV soon. I think that would be quite good for The Miz then to come back to SmackDown. I do believe the Revival will be permanently on SmackDown Live, especially now they've won the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I would expect Sami Zayn to come over as well, to keep with Shinsuke Nakamura. And I do wonder as well if the Authors of Pain will be better suited for SmackDown Live, because their tag team division is a little bit wafer thin at the moment. Although I do think that their, if you want their interview or their visualette or however you want to call it, I do feel that was very Paul Heyman-esque, and I do think that was really done well. So I do feel they could be better suited for Raw. But we look there on the dominant tag teams and you know, that side of things. SmackDown's really lacking in the tag team division right now. Raw has, you know, the OC with Gallows and Anderson, has Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. They're kind of fine. So I think OOP could be better suited for SmackDown. Looking at the Raw side, I think Rusev, I mean, he was on SmackDown. He's returned on Raw, so I think he will be Raw. I do wonder if the New Day could be coming over, and this is why I think Kofi Kingston could lose the WWE Championship. I think that could be a strong possibility. I think, I mean, Randy Orton is supposed to be with the Revival, but I mean, it's not an official stable. That could change as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Randy Orton come over. I think Kevin Owens will stay put on SmackDown. I think Ali would be an undercard guy that could perhaps move over to Raw. I do wonder if maybe him and Cedric Alexander could become a tag team at some stage. I have teased that before in the past. I think it's a possibility. He could be like a like for The Miz as well, with the current way that they're both currently booked. We're looking at main event talent. If Kofi was to go over, one big star as well has to sort of also go over. I do wonder if Braun Strowman eventually could end up on SmackDown Live. My only negative with that, though, is that looking at it, we would then have Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Braun Strowman all on the same brand again. And that has been done to death, apart from the triple threat match. So that would be my negative if Braun Strowman was to move over. But I'm not sure currently where he fits in on Monday Night Raw either, unless he has a feud with Samoa Joe. That's the only feud I kind of see him having. So it'll be interesting to see, or perhaps maybe the Fiend as well with Bray Wyatt. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of possibilities in the air there. So those are the ones that I'm currently feeling. But maybe closer to the time, I may do an official predictions video for it. But that's my feeling right now with those potential draft picks. And of course, just before I leave it as well, NXT, there could be a couple of call-ups as well. I wouldn't be surprised if that was to happen. We'll have to wait and see. But I haven't got anyone particular in mind right now because I'm currently too worried that people would be lost in the shuffle. And as well as that, I mean, of course, people would have to go in the other direction. Which, speaking of, our next question comes from James Still. Who would you move from the main roster or back to NXT? Now it's a weekly 2-hour show. I have got a few really that I could pick here. Really, it's mainly the people that are not on television. Looking at it really, I've always sort of felt if you're stuck in catering and you've got nothing to do, and you're a younger talent as well, then I think that NXT is always a great place that you could go back to. Because, I mean, you look at Tyler Breeze, he's done well going back there with Breeze and Go. I see Apollo Crews went back a little while ago as well. I believe that's one-off showing with Kushida. I would have Apollo Crews. I think he would be a good shout. I do wonder with Chad Gable. They seem to be doing something with him currently on WWE TV, but I do wonder, I mean, he would be great suited because a lot of smaller guys in NXT, so I think he would be quite kind of a good guy, could be a good shout to bring back down. The B Team would be another one as well, because both Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas are both talented guys really, but they just don't seem to get any TV time. Heath Slater as well. In fact, put them all together, the Social Outcasts could make a return as a trio. I'd be well in favour of that and put them on NXT because that would be good for them. Looking to the other direction, the Street Profits have been always teased on Raw as well, so you could move them up to the main roster, and then the Social Outcasts could fill that void. So I think one other strong candidate, which I've not mentioned so far, which I think is probably the most needing of all, EC3. He would be the biggest one for me that would need to move back down because I think he's got a lot to give. He would get TV time now, definitely, with 2-hour weekly show on NXT on the USA Network. And sadly, the guy's been buried since he's been moved to the main roster. So he would be a major person. I think that's the most needing of every name I've mentioned. He is the one most needing to come down to NXT. I do wonder what happened in the Cruiserweight division as well. I mean, they're not technically main roster. But I mean, if I was booking it, I would take Drew Gulak. I would take Tony Nese. Maybe one or two selected others, and I'd just put them on the main roster, and I'd take every other cruiserweight, and I'd put them in NXT or NXT UK, and give them time to really sort of develop, to push themselves for a main roster call-up, because you've got some great cruiserweights on the main roster, like we said, Cedric Alexander, Buddy Murphy, Ali, if you had Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, Ricochet, you know, those guys could actually be involved with that, and depending on if they were all on the same show, that would be kind of interesting as well. It could be like an old cruiserweights like we had back in SmackDown back in the old days, like 2002, 2003. I'd be really keen on seeing that because I think the Cruiserweight Championship would be taken more seriously then on the main roster. But that's just my personal opinion. Next question comes from Josh Merritt. If you had a choice of factions to join, which one would you join? British Strong Style, Imperium, the Undisputed Era, or the Forgotten Sons? 4 great stables there, all currently in NXT or NXT UK. For me, the Forgotten Sons, I want to be remembered, so, but also all joking aside, I do think that they would get very lost if they were to come to the main roster, so I don't think that they would be a stable to join. You want to have strength, you want to have power, you want to be remembered, you want it to mean something. So I think, although I am a fan of the gimmick and I'm a fan of the guys, I think NXT is currently their ceiling. They need to be there for a long time. So, although maybe you could argue that it could be of some help for the Forgotten Sons, if that wouldn't be the one I would choose. Imperium, really cool stable. I'm a really big fan, and Walter as backup would be pretty awesome. But again, I don't think that would be they don't have the cool factor enough for me that would be the one I'd pick. I would go between British Strong Style and the Undisputed Era. British Strong Style purely because, I mean, I'm English for starters. I would kind of fit the gimmick if you want, but for the cool factor, Undisputed Era is good. A Hill faction's kind of cool as well, because everyone's got each other's back all the time in there, and they're not too against the shenanigans as well in a match. So I'm gonna take the win where I can get it. So I think the Undisputed Era, they got a cool entrance. I love the gimmick. I love the theme of what they do. And yeah, the crowd always goes mental for those guys. They do for British Strong Style as well, but I think the Undisputed Era is the coolest faction of those guys, so they're going to be my choice. Next question comes from Noob and Co. Which superstars you like making their own brand? Sheamus with his Celtic Warrior workouts, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose with their Demands Donuts, Xavier Woods with Up Up Down Down, or Oscar with Kanakan TV, which I'm sure I've butchered quite a little bit during that question there. But yeah, for me, I've kept an eye on some of the stuff. I haven't watched everything, but I would say that of the ones that have been there given to me, I am a fan of donuts, so I do occasionally keep up with Demands. But I must say, particularly, I'm most a fan of Up Up Down Down with Xavier Wiz, that YouTube channel. I don't watch everything that's put on there, but I really was a big fan of Battle of the Brands. I loved GM mode back in the day on the old WWE games. I do wish it would be brought back, actually. I think it would be a great improvement on the games now. Would certainly get my investment. I just find Universe mode very boring. So when I watched him and Tyler Breeze do that through the 2006, I was watching every week, and I do find that a lot of fun to watch. There's a lot of good banter as well when they do the Up Up Down shows as well. So for me personally, I do find that one the most entertaining. So usually when it comes to YouTube, that's the one I tend to go to most often. Last question comes from Tyler Slade. Why does everyone blame the dirt sheet reporters are lying when their leaks are wrong? Vince is smart enough to do one of two things. Fake leaks, or if things get linked, just change it. People blame the reporters of how they forgot how smart Vince can be. Well, for me personally, I actually kind of feel slightly reversed this year. I find that a lot of the stuff I read in the dirt sheets tends to be true. It tends to end up happening, and I get a bit annoyed about that. So I've actually really made a conscious effort to really not look at the dirt sheets as often in recent times, and I find myself enjoying programming a lot more for it. But I do agree that if things do get leaked, that WWE should be smart to change it up, and I do think sometimes that does happen. Not everything that comes in the dirt sheets, of course, is true, and you're right. And I think it's a bit annoying if fans out there do kind of go like, oh, the reporters are really bad, this, that, and the other. Because why do you want the program spoiled? I don't quite understand that. Like, I don't go into like a football game or something like this knowing the result before I watch it. I don't go to a movie in the movie theatre and go, oh yeah, you know how this ends before I'm going to go and watch it. That's not what I'm interested in. I want to be entertained, and I like the surprise element of it. So for me, really, I like the idea. When it comes to dirt sheets, I like the idea of the backstage gossip, that someone might be getting some backstage heat. I like the idea of contracts. I like the idea of you know, that someone WWE might be interested, say, in the New Japan style, or AEW might be interested in an indie talent. That stuff I find very interesting. The idea maybe that this could be a place they could debut, but not necessarily a certainty. I don't like when it's like, yeah, we found out they're definitely backstage and that's definitely going to happen. And oh, by the way, it's quite clear Randy Orton's going to win the Royal Rumble, or something stupid like that, which happened a couple of years ago. It just completely spoils everything, and I think that it just takes away from the enjoyment. And people then turn around and say, oh, it's boring WWE. It's not as great as the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era. Well, you didn't have all this stuff, you know, so easily accessible to spoil it for you. I'm pretty sure if what happened back then happened now, you'd know half of the information, so therefore, in your opinion, it probably wouldn't be as good. So, for me personally, I think the dirt sheets, they are good to a point, but I do think stuff can really spoil your enjoyment, and I recommend really trying to really pick and choose what you're going to look at if you're going to look at stuff, because I do think for fans it's pretty annoying. But if stuff is being changed, that's being linked, then power to WWE, because that's good, because I want to see more of that. I don't want things to be completely leaked. I see lots of different you know, reports on these, you know, popular wrestling dirt sheets or YouTube channels saying, you know, this has been leaked and this comes out. Well, I hope that it's been leaked and it's been leaked wrong, because yeah, it's so much better when there's a complete surprise factor. I mean, you look back to certain things like maybe when Shane McMahon returned in 2016, not that we cheer now, but that was really, really out of left field. No one saw it coming. Big surprise. The wrestling world went mad, and I want to see more moments like that. And I think that could happen if we were just given more of that surprise element in wrestling right now, because I do feel with the dirt sheets sometimes we do get it spoiled, because I seem to think more than not what I read currently this year, I tend to find it happen, and I just find it frustrating. Anyway, that's all from me anyway. Thank you for watching this particular video of AskSCW episode 10. If you'd like to throw a question in the comment section of this particular video, or even you'd like to follow me on Twitter, you can go and do so now, SCW Wrestling Channel, or at SCW_Steve. You can follow me on Instagram as well, SCW The Wrestling Channel. Just use the hashtag AskSCW, and yeah, you can get your question asked on the next episode on here on YouTube. And as you see, give you a shout out as well. And I also request please to follow everybody that's asked questions on. All of them come from Twitter this time, so go on Twitter, follow those guys. It's always great to have great interaction with everybody talking about professional wrestling. I really enjoy it, and I really appreciate everyone's support and the people that get involved. It makes these a lot of fun to do. But that's all from me anyway. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time here on YouTube, and make sure to enjoy your wrestling week.